हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. First and foremost, we thank all of you for your overwhelming contribution for the subscription to Zoom. So I've just stated all the names. My sincere gratitude to all of you. You all find some value in these sessions, for which I'm very, very grateful to all of you. And as required, I have removed the amounts, but many devotees have contributed. So I'm sincerely grateful to all of you. Thank you very much. We'll start with prayers. Om Jnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Namo Vishnupadhaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Aschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaurodushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं. हरिः ओम तत्सत्. गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तराले कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. आजानुलंबित भुजौ कनकावदातौ संकीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वाम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत् प्रियकरो करुणावतारो. वन्दे गुरूणीश भक्तानीशमीशावतारकान् तत्प्रकाशं सतच्चक्ति कृष्ण चैतन्य संयुगम्. वन्दे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानन्दौ सहोदितौ गौडोदये पुष्पवन्तौ चित्रौ छन्दोतमुनुदौ. यदद्वैतं ब्रह्मोपनिषदि तदप्यस्य तनुभा यात्मान्तर्यामि पुरुष इति सोऽशांश विभवः. षडैश्वर्यै पूर्णोऽसे भगवान् स स्वयम् अयम् न चैतन्यात् कृष्णा जगति परतत्त्वं परमिह. अनर्पितचरीं चिरात् करुणयावतीर्णः कलौ समर्पयितुमुन्नतो ज्वलरसां स्वभक्ति श्रियम्. हरिः पुरडसुन्दरद्युतिकदम्ब सन्दीपितः सदा हृदय कन्दरे सुरतोभः शचीनन्दनः. राधा कृष्ण प्रणय विकृतिर्लादिनी शक्तिरस्मात् एकात्मानावभिभुवि पुरदेहभेदं गतौ तौ. चैतन्याख्यं प्रणमधुना तद्वयं चैक्यमाप्तम्. राधा भावद्युति सोलितं नौमि कृष्णस्वरूपम्. श्रीराधाया प्रणयमहिमा कीदृशो वा नयैव स्वाध्यो येनाद्भुतमद्रिमा कीदृशो वामदीयः सौख्यं चास्य मदनुभवतः कीदृशं वेति लोभात् तद्भावाद्यः समजनीश चिगर्भसिन्धो हरिन्दुः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्नि गौरदुषे नमः कृष्णवर्णं तृषा कृष्णं सङ्गोपङ्गस्त्रपार्षदं यज्ञे सङ्कीर्तनप्रायैर्यजन्ति हि सुमेधसः वैराग्यविद्या निजभक्तियोगा शिक्षार्थमेकः पुरुषः पुराणः श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यशरीरधारी कृपाम्बुदीर्यस्तमहं प्रपद्ये पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So, Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for our today's study. So, yesterday we were reading about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is meeting Rupa Goswami and Anupam, also called Shri Vallabh. Right? He met Rupa Goswami and asked Rupa Goswami, gave two important instructions to Rupa Goswami at this time. One is to write books on Bhakti Tattva. Rupa Goswami wrote the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Upadeshamrita. Right, and also about the various rasas, right? So in this way, Rupa Goswami is written Lalita Madhava, Vidagdha Madhava also. Those actually deal with the rasas that Lord Sri Krishna enjoys with his devotees, like that. And then we also saw how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Rupa Goswami, right? Basically, what does these scriptures mean? These scriptures means we are distributing the signs of Krishna. Right? That's why Prabhupada says, what can your 3-minute preaching do? Right? Give them one of my books. Then it will transform their lives. Right? Prabhupada's books are like time bombs, they say. When the time is right, they will pierce through the heart and clear off all the anarthas. Right? There are instances of people becoming devotees simply by studying Srila Prabhupada's books. Right? They have not even got an association of devotees also. They themselves read the books and then they got in touch with an ISKCON center and they've started their centers in the respective places. So such are the potency of devotional literature written by pure devotees of the Lord. So Rupa Goswami wrote these two books and also books on this loving transcendental rasas between the Lord and his devotees. So by studying these scriptures, especially Nectar of Devotion and Nectar of Instruction, which are summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and Upadeshamrita written by our Srila Prabhupada, we get to understand the science of bhakti by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, by the blessings of Srila Prabhupada. So on this note, let's continue reading teachings of Lord Chaitanya. We are continuing with the teachings to Rupa Goswami. We have to continue from the Supreme Lord is cognizant and all powerful, and by his causeless mercy, he empowers a living entity to receive his mercy. People in general, being under the spell of conditioned life, are averse to rendering devotional service and practicing Krishna consciousness. They are unaware of the teachings of Krishna consciousness, which reveal one's eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the process by which one can return to the spiritual world, and the ultimate goal of life, which is to return back home, back to Godhead. Because these things are unknown to the conditioned soul, Lord Chaitanya, out of his causeless mercy, instructed Rupa Goswami in the principles of devotional service. Later, Rupa Goswami distributed the science to the people in general. So, 3 tattvas are actually described here. What are the 3 tattvas? Sambandha Gyan, Abhidheya Gyan, and Prayojana Gyan. What is the Sambandha Gyan? Sambandha Gyan means we need to have our relationship with the Lord that is established. That is Sambandha Gyan. When we understand the Sambandha Gyan, then we move to the next step of how do I behave? How do I carry out my tasks in relation to that relationship? Right? Like, for example, a girl gets married to a boy and goes to that in-laws place and then does work in the service of the husband and service of, in-laws and all of that. Similarly, when we establish our relationship as a servant of the Lord, then we progress with the next steps of actioning or performing our action in service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that process is called Abhideya. That action is called Abhideya. Abhideya means a process by which I am reawakening my dormant relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then finally, the Prayojan. Prayojan is the goal. What is the goal? We want to reawaken our relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For that, we are performing this process. And finally, we are going to get the desired success, which is Krishna Prema. Right? That is the goal of all of our Sarve Vidhi Nishedhyashur Eteyor Eva Kinkaraha. There are whatever rules and regulations we follow, whatever Abhideya process we follow, like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. All of these have to ensure that we always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. We reawaken our love for Krishna. So this is the essential principle of why we are doing what we are doing, why we are doing these angas of devotional service, isn't it? So that's what Prabhupada is saying here. Rupa Goswami, out of his own causeless mercy, have given this science of Sambandha Gyan, Abhideya Gyan and Prayojana Gyan to the people in general, like that. Okay, so let's move forward. Anyone would like to read? I thought I saw Sindhu Mataji. Okay, Leela Nandini Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Yes, Mataji. In the prologue from there.
In the prologue to the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.1.2, Rupa Goswami describes Lord Chaitanya as follows. Hridayesha prernaya pravartitoham varakarupo abhi tasya hare pada kamalam vande Chaitanya devasya. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he has inspired me with a desire in my heart to write something about devotional service. For this reason, I am writing this book on the science of devotion, known as the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Beginning his 10 days of continual instruction to Rupa Goswami, Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "My dear Rupa, the science of devotional service is just like a great ocean, and so it is not possible to show you its entire length and breadth. But I shall try to explain the nature of that ocean by taking just one drop out of it. In this way, you can taste it and understand what that ocean of devotional service actually is." The Lord then explained that within the Brahmanda or universe, there are innumerable living entities who, according to their own fruitive activities, are transmigrating from one species of life to another and from one planet to another. In this way, their engagement in material existence has continued since time immemorial. In actuality, these living entities are atomic parts and parcels of the Supreme Spirit. It is said in the Shvedasvara Upanishad that the length and breadth of the individual soul is 1/10,000th part of the tip of a hair. The atomic magnitude of the living entity is confirmed in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 11, 16.11. In the 10th canto, 10.87.30, Sanandana Kumar, while performing a great sacrifice, quotes the following statement by the personified Vedas: "O Supreme Truth, if the living entities were not infinitesimal sparks of the Supreme Spirit, each minute spark would be all-pervading and could not be controlled by a superior power. But if the living entity is accepted as a minute part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one can automatically understand how he is controlled by the Supreme Power. The latter is actual constitutional position, and if he remains in this position, he can attain full freedom. If one mistakenly considers his constitutional position equal to that of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes contaminated by the doctrine non-duality, and his efforts in transcendental life are rendered ineffective." Lord Chaitanya.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Haribol.
Thank you, Haribol. So, what is the first lesson Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching Rupa Goswami and through Rupa Goswami to all of us? The first lesson is okay. The first lesson, what he's teaching is what is the first lesson? Mamaivamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Right? Everyone is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. Manasasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Karshati means we're all struggling in this material world. Why? Because manashastan indriyani, we are under the control of the mind and the senses, which are driving us in various directions away from the Lord, away from our constitutional position of Jivera Swarupe Krishna and Nityadas. And that is why we are suffering karshati in this material world because of not being situated in our constitutional position. So that's the first lesson given by Rupa Goswami. What is that? Jivera Swarupaye Krishna and Nityadas. We are equal to the Lord, but we are minute particles, right? Like Prabhupada gives a very beautiful example in many of his lectures. Prabhupada quotes this example of the water in the ocean and a drop of water in the ocean, right? They're equal in terms of their chemical composition, right? So the one drop of water is also equal to the entire ocean water in terms of its quality, in terms of its chemical composition. However, one drop cannot be equal to the ocean in terms of quantity, right? The ocean, when it floods over, it can destroy an entire village. It can drown a village. What can one drop do? One drop of salt water cannot even quench our thirst, right? It is, we are as insignificant as one drop of ocean water, while the Lord is as significant as the ocean water. This is simply an analogy, right? The Lord is much, much, much more infinite than what we can even fathom. But why we are saying an ocean? Just to give us some idea, right? Because we always used to measuring things in terms of quantity, comparison like that. So for that, this illustration is given, this analogy is given, that the Lord is compared to the ocean and we are compared to one drop of that particular ocean. That means we are equal to the Lord in quality. This is what is explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is called Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. We are inconceivably equal to the Lord in quality, and at the same time, we are not equal to the Lord. We are infinitesimal, and the Lord is infinite in terms of quantity, right? That's why all of us have, beauty, wealth, strength, knowledge, fame, and renunciation, right? We all renounce something, right? At least on Ekadashi, we renounce rice and grains and beans, isn't it? We don't have that. So we all have this capacity. We all have this renunciation ability. We all have strength, wealth, knowledge, fame, right? We all possess these attributes to a certain extent, to a minute extent, right? Some of us have a little more of certain opulence. Some of us have a little less. But unlimited opulence, right? None of us can claim to possess unlimited opulences and that too eternally, right? All of us may have some opulence, which may not even fade, right? It may keep increasing. Like for example, Amitabh Bachchan is very famous, right? People go outside his building, simply want to see his wave of hand. They don't get to talk to him, they don't get to interact with him, but simply to see. And its fame is growing with time also. Sorry, one second. And his fame is also increasing with time, isn't it? But no one can claim to possess it eternally, right? All of this fame and name, fame, glory, etc., wealth, strength, knowledge, renunciation, everything, whatever we may possess, right? Those things will die with the body. But only for the Lord, it will continue eternally, because the Lord is Satchit Ananda Vigraha, right? We are also Satchit Ananda Vigraha, but we are infinitesimal Satchit Ananda Vigraha, and we are made up of this earth, water, fire, and ether body, which will definitely perish at some time, right? Either those opulences will leave us when we are living itself in this body, or we may die and those opulences will be taken away. In either case, it is not eternal in our case. Whereas in the case of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is eternal, which means that there cannot be any diminution in the opulences of the Lord. In fact, it increases and increases more and more, right? As the Lord performs various pastimes, his glories are more, we get to know more of his glories, right? When this pastime of Utkal Leela happened, then the Lord came to be known as Dama Udara, right? One who's tied by the belly, tied on the belly by his greatest devotee, Yashodamaya. When the Lord ran away from the battlefield, he was glorified as Ranachor, right? And then when the Lord steals butter, he is called Makanchor, isn't it? So the Lord's glory is unlimited, and the Lord's glory keeps increasing. Because it's unlimited, we can fathom only a percentage of it. And then when we hear more about the Lord, we understand, oh, the Lord is so much more powerful. The Lord is so much more sweet. Like that. That's why when we read Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, we get to know more and more of the glories of the Lord. And then we try to understand that it is not possible to completely understand the glories of the Lord. But the more we read and hear about the Lord, his glories we will get to know more and more of his glories. But that's not the case with a human being, right? That is why it is said, Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. So the Sanat Kumaras, right? Sanandana Prabhu is mentioned in this particular paragraph by Prabhupada. Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar. These four Kumaras, they're glorifying the Karuna or the compassion of Srimati Radharani. And like this, many acharyas are glorifying each of the aspects of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the finished form as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Narottama Das Thakur is singing, right? Seva Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Dasiranu Dasa Seva Bhilasha Kore Narottama Dasa. Before that, he is glorifying Gatiya Malatir Mala Dibo Tohar Gale. Right? The Lord is looking resplendent with Gatiya Malati Mala, or the flower, the garland made of Malati flowers. So like this, the glories of the Lord is described by our Vaishnava Acharyas. When we sing these songs, we get to know more and more about the beauty of the Lord, the glory of the Lord, the strength of the Lord, the renunciation of the Lord, all of this, right? And then we understand, right? We are infinitesimal in front of that Lord. And that is when we don't become envious of the Lord. Until such time, well, the Lord also has two hands, I'm also having two hands. That is why some people who are in the nascent or neophytes, what do? They try to imitate the Lord's Rasalila pastimes. But when we understand the greatness of the Lord completely, we understand that we are in no position to imitate the activities of the Lord. But what is our position? Our position is we are infinitesimal part and parcel of the Lord. And our position is to simply follow the instructions of the Lord, like that. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's continue reading the instructions. The first instruction is Jivera Swarupe Krishnera Nitya Das and Achintya Abheda Veda Tattva. We are equal to the Lord in quality. We are not equal to the Lord in quantity. Hence, our constitutional position is to serve the Lord and without any motivation for sense gratification. That's what's the first teaching. All right. Lord Chaitanya continued. Okay, so who wants to read next? Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Mataji.
Lord Chaitanya continued his teachings by pointing out that there are two kinds of living entities, the eternally liberated and eternally conditioned. The eternally conditioned living entities can be divided into two types, the moving and the non-moving. Those that remain in one place, trees for example, are classified as Stavara or non-moving entities, and those that move, such as birds and beasts, are called Jangama or moving entities. The moving entities are further divided into three categories: those that fly in the sky, those that swim in the water, and those that walk on land. Out of many millions and millions of living entities on land, human beings are very few. Out of that small number of human beings, most are totally ignorant of the spiritual science, are unclean to their habits, and have no faith in the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In short, most human beings live like animals. Therefore, these can be detected from the number of human beings that constitute civilized human society.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
We can hardly find any human beings who believe in the Vedic scriptures and the existence of God, or even in proper behavior. Those who do believe in these things and in advancing in spiritual life are known as Aryans. Out of those who believe in the scriptures and the advancement of human civilization, there are two classes, the righteous and the unrighteous. Those who are righteous generally execute fruitive activities to derive some good result from sense gratification. Out of many such persons who engage in righteous activities for sense gratification, only a few come to know about the absolute truth. These are called jnanis, empiric philosophers in search of the absolute truth. Out of many hundreds and thousands of such empiric philosophers, only a handful actually attain liberation. When one is liberated, he theoretically understands that the living entity is not composed of material elements but is spirit soul, distinct from matter. Simply by understanding this doctrine, even theoretically one qualifies as a mukta or liberated soul. But the actual mukta is he who understands his constitutional position as part and parcel of the Lord and as his eternal servant. Such liberated souls engage with faith and devotion in the service of the Lord, and they are called Krishna Bhaktas or Krishna conscious persons. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute. So I was just saying, there are two kinds of living entities who are mentioned by Prabhupada here, right? The Nitya Siddhas and the Nitya Baddhas, right? Eternally liberated and eternally conditioned. So Nitya Siddhas are those people who accompany the Lord from the spiritual world, right? Like you have Balaram, like you have the Gopas and the Gopis, you have the Manjaris. So when the Lord appears, he tells his associates who are the Nitya Siddhas, right? I am going to appear at this time. So according to your Leela with me, you have to either appear before or after, isn't it? Yashoda Maya, Nanda Maharaj, they all appear before the Lord. And then later on, we have, Srimati Radharani, and then you have the Manjaris, what do you call the Gopas, the Gopasakhas, whoever are younger, right? They all appear after the appearance of the Lord. So like that, the Dham of the Lord descends, the associates of the Lord descend. Like in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's case, we know that Advaita Acharya appeared much before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would come. And he actually called for the Lord to come in Kali Yuga to propagate Yuga Dharma. So in this way, Advaita Acharya appeared before. And then Jiva Goswami, we see that Jiva Goswami was a small boy, right? When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went for the South India Yatra, and later on when he met Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Rupa Goswami and Anupam in Prayag, right? That time Jiva Goswami was very, very small boy. So later on he did not even have proper darshan, but he took Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami as his guru. And what happened? Jiva Goswami wrote the Shat Sandarbhas. So in this way we understand that whatever knowledge we acquire from Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly, or through the Guru Parampara, it is equal, it is non-different, because the Acharyas also explain the same truth explained by Krishna or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And even amongst those are the Nitya Siddhas, right? They come only to assist the Lord in the pastimes. They are not subject to illusion. Arjuna is also Nitya Siddha for that reason. But then Arjuna is put into illusion by the Lord to satisfy certain purposes, right? So because Krishna tells Arjuna, you and I always come together in all of my incarnations. It is that I remember, you don't remember, right? So Arjuna is actually also a Nitya Siddha or eternal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord only chooses his eternal associates to actually teach various instructions, right? The Lord will not choose anybody and everybody, right? So in this way, even Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari in the spiritual world, isn't it? So that is why Rupa Goswami has been chosen as the instrument to give us the teachings of bhakti, right? How we need to perform bhakti, in what mode we need to perform bhakti, like that, right? And those are Nitya Siddhas. And then we come to Nitya Baddhas. Nitya Baddhas are people like me, right? We have this propensity to enjoy. We want to enjoy the materialistic things, etc., etc. So we need Nitya Siddhas who are instruments in delivering Lord's message. So we read the Bhagavad Gita, we read teachings of Lord Chaitanya to understand how can I transform my life and how can I perfect my life and how can I go back to Godhead, right? So when we go back to Godhead, right, what is the meaning of Nitya Baddha? Nitya Baddha means we are eternally conditioned. So what is the hope for us, right? The hope is that Krishna says, what is that? Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. One who engages in devotional service and perfects his life. And when Maya Devi actually offers us to Yoga Maya, right, the internal pleasure potential of the Lord, then we go back to the Supreme Personality of Godhead's abode, and from there we don't come back to this material world. So those people who are living in this material world currently are Nitya Baddha. They've been eternally conditioned. Why? Because from time immemorial, there is no specific date or time when we have been put into this material world because of our, like Prabhupada tells in the lecture, because from time immemorial, right? We've been having those living entities who want to enjoy independent of the Lord. They will keep coming to this material world. But once we perfect our lives and go back home, back to Godhead, then also we have our free will. But then Krishna will give us the intelligence. Mata smriti jnanam apohanam cha. Right? In this way, Krishna will ensure that we don't fall down back into this material world. And out of those people who are Nitya Baddhas, living entities, there are Stavara and there is Jangama. Stavara means they are situated in one place. Example, plants and trees. Jangama means those living entities which can move. It includes animals, it includes human beings, it includes devatas, it includes Gandharvas, it includes rishis, it includes all of the living entities who can move from one place to another. And here Prabhupada makes a very beautiful point, right? What is that? You know this very important verse, right? Ahar nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanyamekam pashubir narana dharmo eko adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubir samana. So here Prabhupada is saying whoever comes in the last category, dharmo eko adhiko vishesho, one who focuses on what is my dharma as a human being and what is my duty being having acquired a human body, right? So if somebody does not inquire about one's dharma, then that percentage of the human population can be deducted from the 4 lakh species. Prabhupada is saying we can reduce that number and put them along with the animals, right? Jalajan avalakshani stavara lakshivimshati kramiyo rudra sankhya pakshinam dashalakshanam, right? Chatur lakshani manushaha, like that the verse comes, right? In Padma Puran, right? Chatur lakshani manusha is 4 lakhs of human species. But even having acquired a human form, if we don't inquire about the absolute truth, if we don't acquire about Sambandha, Abhideya and Prayojana, and what happens? We will not be part of, we are actually not part of the 400,000 human species, right? We will become part of the, the Stavara or the animal version of the Jangama. So in that way, Prabhupada is mentioning here. All right. So, and Prabhupada is also explaining here in the next paragraph how we are all Aryans. That means those people who understand the Vedic scriptures and at least try, right? We may not have perfected our life, but at least we try to live our life according to Guru, Shastra and Sadhu. Then we are called Aryans. That means we know what is right and what is wrong. How do we get this discrimination? By study of the scriptures. By study of the scriptures, we purify our intelligence. By mantra meditation, we purify our mind. By actual physical seva, by cooking for the Lord, by making garlands for the Lord, by walking to the Lord's temple, by doing parikrama, by engaging our eyes in seeing the beautiful form, by doing abhishek, by decorating the deities, by offering our obeisances. In this way, we engage our senses in the service of the Lord. That is how we purify our senses. So we purify our intelligence by study of the scriptures. Purify our mind by mantra meditation, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then we purify our senses by engaging in physical service for their lordships, right? So in this way, somebody who is doing, although such a person is a Nitya Baddha, who is eternally conditioned, they are also actually Mukta. They are liberated, although being in the material world. They are called Krishna Bhaktas. That's what Prabhupada is saying, right? There are the Krishna Bhaktas, although currently seemingly to be Nitya Baddhas, they are actually Mukta. They are actually liberated platform. Why? Because they know the purpose of life and they are working towards it, right? The other day was mentioning about the example given by Nita Sevni Mataji in her class, right? We are all like people who have had prasadam and we are in the line, right? We are just about to be purified. When our turn comes, just have to wash our hands get purified. Similarly, we are all in line. We continue to follow this process of ABCD square, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. By their blessings, we will become pure devotees of the Lord. So it's only a question of time, like that. Okay, let's continue reading. Who wants to read next? Okay, we purify our intelligence by study of scriptures. We purify our mind by mantra meditation. That is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We purify our material senses by engaging in physical devotional service, by stringing garlands for the Lord, by cooking for the Lord, by cleaning the Lord's temple, by offering arati to the Lord, by dressing the deities, by offering obeisances to the Lord, Anything that we do, physical seva to their lordships, even mopping and sweeping the temple, by engaging in preaching, right? We are employing our mouth by chanting Hare Krishna. That's the best one. We are chanting using our mouth and hearing through our ears. Right? All of this physical seva, what we are doing for the Lord, that is what purifies our senses, like that. Right? And then how do we purify our money? We purify our money by charity. Right? All of you have contributed to the Zoom subscription. We are doing Krishna Katha. So that is also charity. Right? So in this way, we purify our money by charity to the right cause. Right? For the propagation of Krishna consciousness. So in that way, we all of the things that we possess, our money, our strength, our intelligence, our resources, our skills, our abilities, our mind, our intelligence, our body, everything can be purified by dovetailing them in the service of the Supreme Lord. I hope that clarifies, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay. So let's move forward. Okay, Rohini, Mataji, go ahead.
Pranam Mataji.
Pranams.
Krishna Bhaktas are free from all material desires, although those who are theoretically liberated by knowing that the living entity is not material may be classified among liberated souls. They still have desires. Their main desire is to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such persons are very much attached to performing Vedic rituals and righteous activities in order to enjoy material prosperity. Even when some of them transcend material enjoyment, they still try to enjoy in the spiritual world by merging into the existence of the Supreme Lord. Some of them also desire to attain mystic powers through the execution of yoga. As long as any of these desires are within a person's heart, he cannot understand the nature of pure devotional service. And on account of constantly being agitated by such desires, he is not peaceful. Indeed, as long as there is a desire for material perfection at all, one cannot be at peace. Since the devotees of Lord Krishna do not desire anything material, they are the only peaceful persons within this material world. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. Mataji, please, can you read this?
Muktanamapi siddhanam narayana parayanah sudurlabha prashantatma sudurlabha prashantatma kotishvapi mahamune. Will it again? Muktanam api siddhanam narayana parayanah sudurlabha prashantatma. Prashantatma means one who is peaceful, one who is blissful. Kotishvapi mahamune. Yeah, Mataji.
O great sage, out of many millions of liberated persons and persons who have achieved success in mystic yoga, it is very rare to find one who is completely devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and therefore filled with peace.
Yeah, once again, Mataji. So here you see Prashantatma is mentioned as therefore filled with peace. But we know Prasanna, right? Bhagavan ko prasanna karna hai means what? Here the Lord, we are not talking about making the Lord peaceful. Bhagavan ko prasanna karna means one wants to please the Lord. One wants to give pleasure to the Lord. Right? So muktanam api siddhana. Mukti means we know that it is simply there are two kinds of mukti. Actually, the actual meaning of mukti is mukti hitvan yata rupam swarupena vyavasthithi. To be situated in one's own constitutional position, which is Jivara Swarupe Krishna and Nitya Das. That only can give bliss to a living entity. Otherwise, mukti means also the 5 kinds of mukti we know. Sayujya mukti, that means merging into the effulgence of the Lord. Then Samipya mukti, that means being very close to the Lord. And then Sarupya mukti, that means getting the same form as the Lord. And then Sarshti mukti, that means getting all the opulences of the Lord, right? And then Salokya mukti, that means being in the same planet as that of the Lord. These are also different kinds of mukti. But a devotee does not want Sayujya mukti, because when he merges with the Lord, the identity is lost. And when the identity is lost, one can never be blissful, right? One can only experience peace, shanti, and the shanti becomes very boring after some point in time. That we want pleasure, right? Sometimes it is better to have some kind of misery at least, rather than this peace, right? One of the devotees was explaining, even in an ECG, there has to be movement, right? Otherwise, if there is a straight line, what does it mean? The person is dead, isn't it? There has to be some movement, right? In order for the soul to be active and to be engaged in the service of the Lord, peace is not the right platform, right? Because we cannot sustain there, right? We will fall down because that is not giving us bliss, isn't it? So similarly, here Muktanam api Siddhanam Narayana Parayana. Narayana Parayana means one who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's called Narayan, whose source is Krishna himself. Sudurlabha Prasantatma. Sudurlabha means very rare, right? There may be many people who are worshipping the Lord for various reasons, right? Chaturvida Bhajante Mam Jana Sukrituna Arjuna. Artho Jignashu Artharthi Jnanicha Bhartarshava. Someone who is desiring wealth, someone who is desiring to get out of suffering, someone who is, inquiring about the absolute truth, someone who's just curious to know, right? Why bad things are happening to me. Even such a jignasa is good. But the best, Krishna says, is Jnani. One who knows that I am the Lord and hence worships me. Those kind of people are referred to here. So Durlabha Prashantatma, they derive bliss because they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kotishwapi Mahamuni, right? These kind of people are much better than Mahamuni also. Mahamunis, they attain peace of mind because of their meditation, because of their lack of desires, right? Brahmabhuta Prasannatma, na shochati, na kankshati. Oh my God, it's 1:20. Yeah, we started late, na? 12:30 only started. So, na shochati, na kankshati. That is the Muni platform. Right? That means I have no hankering, I have no lamentation, right? But simply, I want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is a bhakta. So you have your liberation seekers, right? Who are happy with peace. But a bhakta does not want, he rejects Sayuja Mukti completely, but he may accept Salokya, Sarupya, Sarshti and Samipya, provided there is an opportunity to serve the Lord. Otherwise, a devotee rejects such kind of liberation, right? And then there's a beautiful verse which also talks about it. Jivetaye mukti padesa dayabhak. That means mukti is standing at the door of a devotee, actually asking, oh, please take me. I'm here at your doorstep. I want to give myself to you. But the devotee is saying, no, I'm not interested in mukti. Because mukti means also I have sense gratification. I want to be liberated from my miserable condition. That is why I want to go to the Lord to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in the last verse of Shikshashtakam, Ashlishyava padratam pinashtumam, Adarshanan marmahatam karotuva, yata tathava vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu sayevanapara. Whether, oh Lord, you may give me your darshan, you may embrace me, or you may leave me and go away. Yata tathava vidadatu lampato. You are my master unconditionally. Whether you embrace me or you leave me and go, I am going to be eternally engaged in your service. And that is the desire of pure devotees of the Lord. All right. So with this, okay, it's 1:20. I think we will do this. We'll start chapter 6 tomorrow. Let's continue teachings of Lord Chaitanya today. Okay. Because it's very, very wonderful teachings. So let's continue this. Of course, Bhagavad Gita is also wonderful. Probably then we will think of having it alternate days. Let's see how it goes. But today we will continue teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Is that okay with everyone? Yeah, okay. I can see only Rohini Mataji and she's only switched on the camera. So I give the full veto power to her and she's giving me a thumbs up. So we'll go ahead with that. All right. Mataji, go ahead. Rohini Mataji.
Mataji, Sudha Mataji is...
Yeah, Sudha Mataji can read next. Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Lord Chaitanya next explained that many thousands and millions of living entities wandering in the material world, one who by the grace of Lord Krishna and the spiritual master gets the seed of devotional service is very rare and fortunate. A pious or religious man is generally inclined to worship deities in various temples, but if by chance, even without his knowledge, he offers his obeisances and worshipful respects to Lord Vishnu and receives the favor of a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord. At that time, he acquires the asset necessary to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is plainly understood from the history of the great sage Narada, which is related in Srimad Bhagavatam. By serving Vaishnavas in his previous life, Narada was favored by those devotees of the Lord and became the great sage Narad Muni.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So, Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. Brahmande Brahmite. There are millions of universes. Out of that, in each universe, Garbhodakasha Vishnu comes into it and he is creating the living entities. There are millions of living entities in every universe. Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. And you and me, we are the most fortunate. Thank you, Karpagavali Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Sudha Mataji. Please switch on your cameras. It's nice to see devotees' faces. I always see Rohini Mataji. So it's nice to see devotees' faces rather than black screen when when we're discussing these wonderful teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So what was I saying? Yeah. So Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva. We are all Bhagyavan, right? You and me are all Bhagyavan. Why we are Bhagyavan? Because by the virtue of Guru and Krishna, what have we got? We've got this Bhakti Lata Bija. We've got the seed of devotional service, which can give us ultimate bliss. Right? We are not misguided. We are not settling for anything less than Krishna Prema. Right? We don't want na dhanam, na janam, na sundari. We don't want wealth. We don't want fan following. We don't want attraction from the opposite sex. Right? Very, very clearly, the instructions have been given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which has been delivered to us by the Guru Parampara. Right? Na dhanam, na janam, na sundari. Mama janmani janmanishwari bhavatat bhaktir ahitukitve. So we are very fortunate to understand this teaching that I don't want anything else except bhakti, because nothing else is going to sustain in the long run, right? Everything is going to die with this body. But one thing that will remain with me eternally is my opportunity to do service to Guru and Gauranga. And that is the only treasured possession of a devotee, that to be continuously and always be engaged in the service of the Lord. So here also, Prabhupada gives the example of Narada Muni, right? How did Narada the boy become Narada Muni, the transcendental spaceman? Right? He was an ordinary boy. He was the son of a Shudrani, right? He simply had the association of the devotees for during the Chaturmasya time. And his mother was a Shudrani. So simply she got the opportunity to serve the Vedantists. And what did she do? She served them very nicely. And Narada the boy, that is even before he became Narada, right? His name was also not known much. Right? Before he became Narada, what did he do? He simply assisted his mother by serving the Bhakti Vedantists. He took permission from them and he had their uchishta. He had the remnants of the food that was offered, the prasadam that was offered to these Bhakti Vedantists. And then later on, what happened? His mother was bitten by a snake, and his mother lost his mother lost her life. And then this small boy, 5-6 years old, he could have thought, oh, the Lord is so heartless. I had just one person who was taking care of me. I had one connection, my mother. And the Lord has taken away my mother also. Right? But Narada the boy did not think like that. He thought, right, that my attachment to this material world, there was one thing that was binding me to this material world, which was my relationship with my mother. Now, the Lord wants me to have only the Lord as his support, right? Only person who can support. He did not have anybody. 5-6 years old, he decided to walk towards the north, and in this way he met Narada. He simply followed the instructions. Like Narada Muni guides everybody. So who guided Narada the boy? Narada the boy, he reminded himself of the instructions he received from the Bhakti Vedantists. He followed the same thing, and then the Lord appeared before Narada the boy. And for a moment, he gave darshan, and immediately the Lord disappeared. Right? Why? Because the Lord told that you are still not purified. You have to purify. Continue the process which you've been doing, and then in your next life you will become completely purified, and then you can have my darshan whenever you want. And in this way, Narada the boy became the transcendental Narada Muni, who is everywhere. Right? Whether if he wants to go to the spiritual world, also he goes. He wants to come in the material world, also he is here. And anybody and everybody who wants to understand how to serve the Lord, right? Whether it is Dhruv Maharaj, whether it is Prahlad Maharaj, whether it is, the hunter, Mrigari the hunter, or whether it is, anybody who's in Tamoguna, Rajoguna, or Satvaguna, if he thinks of Narada Muni, or if he simply wants to serve the Lord, but I don't know how to serve the Lord, then Narada Muni will be personally present, or he will disclose to us in some way or the other how we can serve the Lord, how we can perfect our life. Such Narada Muni also had a history, right? Like they say, saints also have a history, and even the most abominable people also have a future, right? So we cannot say that anybody who's in any position right now has the propensity, has the ability to transcend themselves to the platform of Krishna Prema. That is why we should never criticize any person for whatever they are doing right now. Right? Maybe they are already evolved 75%, 90%, and they are in the current state, and they only need a little association, and they will perfect their lives. And we may be very, very, maybe in this lifetime, maybe we are practicing for 15 years, 20 years, but they may be exalted. They will need only 1 minute, like Atwanga Maharaj. In 1 second, is perfected in life and went back to Godhead. Right? So we should never judge a Vaishnava by his external appearance, by his external behavior, because we don't know how advanced any Vaishnava is. Right? Of course, we also studied in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya that we have to respect every devotee, because the Lord is personally present in every devotee, like that. Right? So why was I saying this? The mercy of Guru and Gauranga are available to everybody. It is up to us how much of the mercy we want to tap in our life. In that way, we will, to the extent we follow their instructions, to that extent we will advance faster in devotional service. But that process is very clear. We will attain the destination. But if you are willing to wait for millions of lifetimes for it, then, then it's our choice. But for us who want to go back home, back to Godhead in this lifetime, want to attain Krishna Prema in this lifetime, every opportunity to serve, we have to grab it. Right? There is nothing else that is more important. There is nothing else as blissful as the opportunity to serve Guru and Gauranga, like that. Okay, let's quickly move forward. I can see Sudha Mataji's hand up. Mataji, go ahead. Vaishnavas are generally very compassionate.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for switching on your camera. Haribo. Yes, Mataji. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Vaishnavas are generally very compassionate towards the conditioned soul. Without even being invited, a devotee will go from door to door to enlighten people, to bring them out of the darkness of nescience by imparting knowledge of the living entity's constitutional position as a servant of Lord Krishna. Such devotees are empowered by the Lord to distribute devotional consciousness or Krishna consciousness to the people in general. They are known as authorized spiritual masters, and it is by the mercy of such a spiritual master that a conditioned soul gets the seed of devotional service. The causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is first appreciated when one comes in touch with a bona fide spiritual master who can enlighten the conditioned soul and bring him to the highest position of devotional life. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya said that by the mercy of the spiritual master, one can achieve the causeless mercy of the Lord, and by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one can attain the mercy of the bona fide spiritual master. Thus, by the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna, one receives the seed of devotional service. Then one has to sow the seed in the field of his heart, just as a gardener sows the seed of a valuable tree. After sowing the seed, one has to water it by chanting and hearing the holy name of the Supreme Lord, and by taking part in discussions about the science of devotional service in a society of pure devotees. When the plant of devotional service sprouts up from the seed of devotion, it begins to grow freely. When it is fully grown, it surpasses the length and breadth of this universe and enters the transcendental atmosphere of the spiritual world, where everything is bathed in the effulgence of the Brahma Jyoti. The plant penetrates even the Brahma Jyoti and gradually enters the planet known as Goloka Vrindavana. There the plant takes shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. That is the ultimate goal of devotional service. After attaining this position, the plant produces the fruit of love of Godhead. To taste this fruit, however, it is necessary for the devotee or transcendental gardener to water the plant daily by chanting and hearing. Unless one waters the plant by chanting and hearing, there is every chance that it will dry up. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hari Bol. Thank you so much. So here I was hearing as well as Jayapataka Swami Shri Guru Maharaj's class. Guru Maharaj was saying that when we are watering the plant, right, our Brahmandi Brahmiti Kon Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasada Paya Bhakti Lata Bija, we've got the seed of devotional service, and slowly the creeper is growing, isn't it? And we are watering the creeper by the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, by hearing about the Lord. Now we are slowly growing the creeper, our Bhakti creeper. What happens at that time? Even the weeds are growing around it. When we are watering, even in the normal, when we are planting a seed and, when we are watering it, even unnecessary plants also grow along with the main plant that we are trying to grow. So similarly, along with the Bhakti creeper, there are also unnecessary weeds of, puja, labha, pratishtha, Putinati, and all of that, right? All of these weeds also grow. That means desire for name, fame, glory, the propensity to criticize others, to talk ill about others, to talk behind the devotee's back about the devotee, etc., etc. All these things are also growing as weeds. So His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Srila Guru Maharaj was saying, one should be very careful to pluck out those weeds from the root. If you don't pluck it out, then the weeds will grow so much that it will destroy the plant of bhakti. It will uproot the bhakti, right? Like that. So be very careful that we constantly introspect ourselves, right? Am I developing the desire for name, fame, glory? Am I developing the desire, or am I criticizing devotees? Am I committing the offenses to the holy name? Every day in the morning we are chanting the 10 offenses to the holy name, right? Am I committing any of those offenses? In this way, constantly we have to introspect ourselves, especially when we don't have taste in chanting. During Brahma Muhurta time, we find that 16 rounds are becoming difficult. Then especially we need to introspect, right? Have I committed any Vaishnava aparad? Have I committed any other Nam aparad? Have I criticized any devotee? Or am I expecting name, fame, glory? Am I expecting anything other than pure bhakti? Like that, when we introspect ourselves, then we will be able to identify and cut out the weeds, because these weeds not only if they are minor also, they will delay the process of bhakti, right? They will delay the process of attaining Krishna prema, and then we don't want any kind of delay. That is why we constantly introspect ourselves. That very beautifully Prabhupada, as he's explaining, the bhakti creeper has to grow fast, cross the Mahatattva, cross the Brahman, Mahatattva and all, and until it reaches the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna. Right? Even at that stage, right, when one exhibits various emotions, the bhava stage, that is also not enough, right? Because that bhava also has to be like, a kheer when it is made, it has to be, the milk has to be completely boiled. Only then it will get the sweetness, isn't it? Only then it will get the real taste. Like that, even at the stage of bhava, it is not fully fructified. Until we get the fruit of Krishna prema, right? The fruit of Krishna prema, we need to strive. Right? Even in the stage of bhava, Bharat Maharaj fell down. Right? So in that way, how careful we have to be. In the stage of Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti is longest process. Right? We have to be more and more careful that we don't fall down. We have to be continuously evolving in our path of bhakti. And that is why Prabhupada is very beautifully describing the bhakti creeper, how it will reach Goloka Vrindavan, and at the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, it will produce the fruit of love of Godhead. So we need to water the plant carefully whenever chanting and hearing. And also, like His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Srila Guru Maharaj is saying, that we need to be very careful not to allow the weeds to grow. Cut the weeds at the root by constant introspection on what we are doing, what is our consciousness, are we developing the qualities of humility, tolerance, offering all respects to others without expecting any respect in return. So all of this we need to constantly introspect ourselves. If you are interested to attain that Vrindavan Dham, at what do you call, as soon as possible, right? From our endeavor, we can think everything is in our hands, but we should know that nothing is possible without the mercy of the Lord, right? We can always remember, at least I always remember the Damodar Leela. Even the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead had to run behind Krishna, waiting for the Lord's mercy. So what is our position, right? We are all practicing sadhaka bhaktas. So we need to be completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord. Whatever the Lord decides, whenever the Lord decides to give His mercy. But we have to be constantly endeavoring so that we are constantly seeking the Lord's mercy. Like that. All right. So let's end with Karpagoli Mataji. I can see her hand up. So Mataji, go ahead. Lord Chaitanya pointed out to Rupa Goswami. This paragraph is talking about Vaishnava Aparad. Yeah. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That Lord Chaitanya pointed out to Rupa Goswami that there was another danger to be encountered while watering the root of the devotional plant. After a plant has grown somewhat, an animal may come and either eat it or destroy it. When the green leaves of a plant are eaten by some animal, the plant generally dies. Thus, one has to take precautions so that the plant of devotional service is not disturbed by animals, which represent offenses. The most dangerous animal is the mad elephant. For if a mad elephant enters a garden, it causes tremendous damage to plants and trees. An offense to a pure devotee of the Lord is called Vaishnava Aparada, the mad elephant offense. In the discharge of devotional service, an offense to the feet of a pure devotee creates a havoc and stops one's advancement. Thus, one has to defend the plant of the bhakti by fencing it off properly and taking care not to offend pure devotee. Then the plant of devotional service will be properly protected. And
Hare Krishna.
shall I
Thank you,
continue?
Mataji. Yeah, I
thank
think
you.
we
Thank
will
you so
end
much.
here. We're already at
Saratna.
1:36 p.m. Yeah. So, what was, so this paragraph clearly defines the Vaishnava Aparadha, right? To blaspheme the devotees who dedicated their lives in propagating the holy names of the Lord all over the world, especially the pure devotees of the Lord. Then our bhakti, the root itself will be cut, right? That doesn't mean that we can commit aparadha to other devotees, right? We have to be very careful. We don't want any kind of delay in our bhakti, isn't it? For our own self-interest, we have to ensure that we don't commit any Vaishnava aparadha. We don't commit any Nam aparadha, especially when we are telling every day, right? We are telling all the 10 offenses to the holy name. So we have to also be careful that we safeguard ourselves from committing this aparadha. So like that. So, so this is the process as given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly to Rupa Goswami, and Prabhupada is explaining it with examples and details so that we can understand at our level, right? Otherwise, if we were to sit in front of Rupa Goswami and, and read directly the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, at least I can talk for myself. I don't know Sanskrit, that's one. Second is, I will not understand anything. ABCD also will not understand. So it is only with the mercy of Prabhupada, it is given us in very simple English language that we can at least, be able to decipher and understand how important of develop all these good qualities, how important it is to perform sadhana with the right consciousness, how important it is to cut these weeds, right? We learn from our spiritual master. So all of these instructions you have to keep in mind as we perform our sadhana. If at all we want to attain the desired success as soon as possible, right? We want to attain the desired destination in this lifetime. And if you want to do that, then we have to give our everything. Give the, at least, I remember His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj was saying, Prabhupada told him, this one life you give to Krishna consciousness, right? So we have spent so many lifetimes giving importance to all the unnecessary things, right? And because of that, we are rotating, coming again and again in this material world, in the cycle of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. This one lifetime we want to give to Krishna, to Prabhupada, to Srila Guru Maharaj. Just simply follow their instructions so that we can perfect our lives in this lifetime and go back home, back to Godhead, right? So, Grantaraj, teachings of Lord Chaitanya ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So, I'm so grateful to Rohini Mataji, Karpavali Mataji, Shobha Mataji, Harjeet Mataji, Monimala Mataji, Leela Nandini Mataji, Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji, Sudha Mataji, Sindhu Mataji, Sneha Prabha Mataji. Like I said, the demigods are all giving darshan. Your faces are popping up. Manasi Mataji. Thank you so much for joining us for our study, and my sincere gratitude to all of you for making contribution for the Zoom session. So I'm overwhelmed actually with the number of devotees who've contributed. I'm so grateful that you all find these sessions useful. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha anantakoti vaishnava vrinda ki jai. So based on request, I've not put the amount against each of the devotees, but my sincere gratitude to every one of you who've contributed for these Zoom sessions, and you all are helping me actually also study teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Bhagavad Gita. So because of you all, we are able to do this. My sincere gratitude to all of you. Thank you very much. In case any devotee has any query or question, you may raise your hands. Otherwise, we will quickly end with Harinam Sankirtan. When will you be starting Ram Navami session? So please join our festival group. We are starting from today, if that is a session, but it will be, we will be doing Nama Ramayana, right? So today we will be starting with our Balakand, right? Shubham Shashikram, they say. So we will start right from today. We will do Balakand. This is Nama Ramayana is like a capsule form of the entire Ramayana. So today we will also understand what time. No, Mataji, this is not on Zoom because we want to give the devotees the time to do it whenever they want. So what we will do is I will share the recording of the Balakanda verse along with the translation. So we try to memorize it. So we will give 3-4 days. We will see how many days we have. 17th of April is Ramanavami. Accordingly, we will divide our 7 kandas so that we can memorize also and meditate on the meaning of those verses. And in this way, we are conscious of Lord Ram, right, from Balakand till the Uttarakand, right? Even we will also go into how love and Kush are going and spreading the glories of Lord Ram, right? So with that, okay. So anyone else? Okay, anyone else has any query? Okay, actually, all the devotees can unmute yourself now. So in case of anything else, Sneha Prabha Mataji, I hope that answered your question. Is it okay?
Mataji,
Yes,
having
Mataji,
any
I was
PDF
very
of
excited.
Ramanama? Ramayana. Any PDF of the Nama Ramayana?
I will share today Balakand. I will also share the recording of the recitation, and then I will also share the meaning of the Balakand. So today we will focus on Balakand. Today and probably next 2-3 days. We'll see how many days we have. We want to complete all the 7 kandas, and then in this way we'll be ready to welcome Lord Ram on 17th of April. Right, on 17th April, then we will do all the 7 like that. So today, if you're doing Balakand next 3 days, and then you're going to Ayodhya Kand, we'll do both Balakand and Ayodhya Kand. Like that, we will do continue. And the 7th day, when we are doing our last, which will be on the 15th or 16th, we'll be doing all the 7 kands like that. So we'll be conscious of Lord Ram. We'll be eagerly awaiting the presence of Lord Ram in our lives. Right? Lord Ram actually signifies the triumph of good over evil. So in this way, we want Lord Ram to actually, we request Lord Ram to cut all the unnecessary things that are there in our life, like lust, anger, greed, pride, and illusion. And then we want to make our heart as pure as gold, so that the Lord may want to come and reside in our heart. The Lord is already residing, but our at least my heart is not a very good place for the Lord. So we want to clean our heart and make it a nice place for the Lord to reside and dance and perform his leelas like that. All right, devotees, thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Meet you all tomorrow morning, Brahma Muhurta chanting, and then we will also when we are subscribing for the new Zoom session. I thought currently the Zoom is not available in the night, so I thought we will have a sandwich program. We start with Brahma Muhurta chanting and we'll end with Krishna book reading. I'm actually going to request Radhesham Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji, very good.
Yeah, so we'll have the sandwich process, and also the 3 sandhyas will have a program, right? We are having morning program, we are having afternoon sandhya, and then we have evening sandhya. Interesting, isn't it? I just checked
Mataji is so happy. She's so just glow on her face.
Yeah, so let's see how far it materializes. Yeah.
Mataji, you can even see Google Meet is also equally good. If Zoom
Yeah,
is
Mataji, Google Meet actually, one is we don't have the facility to record, and we cannot go live on YouTube. Many devotees have asked that, we watch it later if we miss some sessions. So, yeah, that's the reason we asked for contribution. But we've got, so many devotees who've come forward so generously and magnanimously that I am feeling, I should be able to do justice to the love and trust that you devotees are expressing by your wonderful contributions. I will try my best. We will have probably evening Sandhya session also, or a late night also we may have. Maybe we end our day by a study of Krishna book. So I'm just going to ask Radhesham Prabhu also. Once he replies, then probably from the first week of April or whenever our current Zoom session expires, then we will start with a launch of new spiritual programs for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gurudev ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Dandavat pranams.
You are our Guru. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. I am your servant. Please, thank you for allowing me to serve all of you. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, we are very fortunate to have your assistance.
Yeah, we are so lucky. Mataji, I am in Seva, so I just could not. Wednesday and Friday I'll be having Seva. So
Hari Hari. Okay, Mataji. You can catch up on YouTube. By the grace of Guru and Gauranga, we are continuing our Zoom sessions. And